Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of United Talks podcast. And today we're going to be breaking down some of the updates or the news we've been hearing the last couple of hours or the last 24 hours. As you can see in the thumbnail, we've had the basic conversation around Grimsby Town and the conversation around Andrew Onana, which has been blowing the social media space all through yesterday, and also the Jamie Carragher comments and all of that. Welcome to United Thoughts Podcast. We're going to break everything down here, have conversations, and talk about opinions with regards to the situation. First and foremost, today we are going to be talking about the Grimsby Town situation. There's been news by Nathan Salt, a digital Manchester United correspondent, and all other outlets, including, Lord Whitwell and Co. They said that Grimsby Town fielded an ineligible player in a shock Carabao win over Manchester United. But the Premier League club, Manchester United would respond or would, potentially would hear basically what happened. So the player in question that they fielded, his name is Clarke Oduor. Now, Clarke Oduor is one of the players I think I mentioned in my match preview, where I said he's going to start, but actually came from the bench. He was registered at 12:01 p.m. on the day prior to the match at Blundell Park, missing the 12 p.m. registration deadline by 60 seconds. That's what they said. Oduor came on in the 73rd minute in place of George McEachran. With the League Two side leading 2-0, he would go on to be the only Grimsby player to miss the penalty shootout, which United lost 12-11 to be knocked out. Now, the breach, which Grimsby Town reported themselves directly to the EFL, has been met with a £20,000 fine, with £10,000 of that fine suspended until the end of the 25-26 season. Now, basically, this is the question, and I've seen a lot of Manchester United fans, basically say stuff, give their opinions about stuff like that. Particularly, even Talk Sport as well. We're talking about their own conversation with regards to that, and they're saying, I think Jason Conde said something. He said that Grimsby Town should be kicked out. They breached the rules, so they should be kicked out. Whoever has breached a rule will basically be knocked out or bear the consequences of what it is. In this case, the EFL has fined them £20,000 and £10,000 to pay now, and all of that. But one would think, and one would ask specific questions like, let's go to previous examples first. In 2019, Liverpool were fined £200,000 but avoided league expulsion after fielding midfielder Pedro Chirivella in the third round of the win over MK Dons. Now, before we talk about what Man United's response is, I guess most of you already know. For Grimsby Town, supporters are saying or calling for the match to be replayed or for Grimsby Town to be knocked out of the competition. We've seen this in multiple outlets. Even multiple content creators saying Grimsby Town should be knocked out. No shame in that. In the FA Cup in 2023, Barnsley were kicked out of the competition after utilizing an ineligible player in a first-round replay win over non-league Horsham Town. In that instance, the player was not eligible for the first game between the side and so was deemed ineligible to play. All these cases were considered by United before making a decision on this situation. The registration of Oduor was submitted to the EFL at 1 minute past the deadline, and the issue was not immediately identified by the club due to the computer problem being experienced at Grimsby. A Grimsby Town statement on Tuesday read, "We accept the fine imposed and fully recognize the importance of adhering to competition rules and regulation. This mistake was not deliberate, and the club acted transparently by self-reporting the breach as soon as it came to light. Since the incident, we have undertaken a thorough review of our processes and implemented strengthened measures to ensure that it cannot happen again. We thank the EFL board for recognizing our cooperation and intent, and we remain fully committed to maintaining the highest professional and regulatory standards. So that's Grimsby's Town response. But then it is what it is. I mean, everybody's calling for them to be kicked out. But what do you guys think? What's your thought on this? I mean, I feel like obviously there's two sides to it. First and foremost, if it was the other way around, if the reverse was the case, I believe that Man United would have faced a huge, because it's going to bring news, right? A huge fight, a huge like backlash and everything. But it is what it is. I think Man United have chosen, basically, Daily Mail Sport understands that Man United have chosen not to escalate the matter further amid calls from supporters for the match to be replayed or Grimsby Town to be kicked out of the competition. So, basically, Man United assessed all the possible outcomes of this whole thing and found out that and they opted to not respond. I don't know. I'm caught in between in this one because obviously Grimsby Town is a small club. They need the money. We also need to win a competition, but not on the grounds that Grimsby Town be knocked out before we can get a chance, because it's going to also blow up the headlines. I would have wished that we won the game and then this came to light and then we can now battle the rest and all of that. But I don't know. It's something to think about. But let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comment section. Let's move on to other things. The next one we have on our hands is the Jamie Carragher situation. We're going to talk about that, but before that, we're going to do the Onana one. I think basically, Andrew Onana has So basically, we're going to talk about Andrew Onana. And there was news yesterday, I think, also about Andrew Onana and new contract. Now, Andrew Onana, this is according to Laurie Whitwell. Andrew Onana faces an uncertain future at Man United after falling down the pecking order of Rúben Amorim's goalkeepers. While not cast aside for the first team in the same way as the bomb squad, it was thought throughout the summer that the Cameroonian could be offloaded for the right price, which would open the door for United to sign a replacement. Yes, both Onana and Barander's substandard showings since the term got underway prompted the board to act on the market, irrespective of whether either would be sold. Now, this is basically around the news, right? Then we'll talk about the goalkeeping strategy and then we can break it down. Now, the news that shocked the internet and shocked Man United fans and brought about reactions and everything is the fact that Onana, immediately after the UEL defeat, left Amorim baffled. And this is what he did. Basically, Laurie Whitwell has revealed this morning, or yesterday as the case may be, that in the aftermath of the Europa League Final, I don't know why this is coming up, but it is what it is. It's much reliable and we're going to react to it, right? In the aftermath of the Europa League Final defeat in May, Onana returned to Carrington with expectations that he'd be granted a new contract. The team's defeat in the clash set in stone that they would be playing Champions League. They wouldn't be playing Champions League football this season, meaning that the players would receive a 25% salary cut. Such a stance from the struggling keeper did not go down well with Amorim. Then there was this situation as Monaco established their interest in signing Onana, but immediately opted against submitting a formal bid after learning of his £30 million price tag. With Whitwell stating that one United star requested a new and improved contract after a UEL defeat. It didn't go down well with Amorim. So these were this is the timeline. So on the 2nd of September, we were heartbroken that Man United man considered himself better than player Ineos bought in to replace him. That was as of, that same, I think 11:24 yesterday. And then, so basically, if we're going to break it down, Onana, after the Champions League, after the Europa League final, asked for a contract, right? We're going to drill down that news. Yeah, we're going to drill down that news before we break. Now, basically, this is what the recent report said, that Onana asked for a new contract from Manchester United after taking a 25% pay cut due to the club's failure to qualify for the Champions League. The request reportedly did not go down well with the head coach Rúben Amorim. Despite Monaco showing some interest, they were deterred by 30 million pound price tag. Onana had previously changed agents to help negotiate a new contract, but his current agency may now be tasked with finding him a new club, as a departure from Manchester United appears increasingly likely. This is especially true after the arrival of Senne Lammens, who joins Altebander and Tom Hilton as the other goalkeeping options at the club, which means that he's dropped down the pecking order of things, and we will and there's so much you could talk about this Andre Onana thing. Rúben Amorim was shocked, and it is what it is. Onana did little to enhance his standing in the eyes of the club's bosses when stating a desire to discuss fresh terms. He was looking for a new deal after being stung with the standard 25% pay cut that hit all players on the back of the failure to secure Champions League qualification, which is basically what has been said. And the Athletic also reported that. So this is what the Athletic said. The Athletic claims that Onana's request did not go down well with Amorim. Fine. With the 29-year-old goalkeeper going on to suffer an untimely hamstring injury that ruled him out for the summer preseason and friendly preparations. It was also suggested that Onana did not return in the right physical condition, leading to his fitness setback. Wow. So there's more still unfolding, but no efforts to find a buyer were made at that stage. The situation changed quickly, with United being heavily linked with a raid on Aston Villa for World Cup winning Argentine Emi Martinez, and I'm glad we didn't get him. Monaco were also said to be interested, but they were put off by the 30 million bid. 30 million pound price tag, and the Cameroonians representative were told that they did not need to find a suitor prepared. They're told that they did not need to find a suitor prepared to part with the fee. Also, what next for Onana? That's the question which we're going to kind of talk about. Now, Onana was, however, benched at the start of 25-26 campaign, which everybody saw. Altebander filled the starting duties before putting in another forgettable display against Grimsby Town, which was for Onana, right, in the Carabao Cup. United went on to sign Belgian shotstopper Senne Lammens from Real Antwerp on deadline day, potentially leaving Onana in limbo until at least the January window. Now, further news on that, which you can see on X, is that according to Pete O'Rourke. His name is Pete O'Rourke. He is a transfer correspondent for Footy Insider. He's a football writer, podcaster, and then everything he posts on his socials is his views. He's got 157,000 followers, right? Almost 158,000 followers. Pete O'Rourke says that Man United may offload Andre Onana to the Saudi Pro League as part of a shake-up in their goalkeeping options, with the Saudi transfer window still open until September 23rd. So as we understand, anything can happen. when it comes to Andre Onana. Speaking further on Andre Onana, before we move on to the next one on our list, Andre Onana, for anything that's happening, like any updates, any new news with regards to what reports are saying, according to Team Talk, Manchester United are still open to selling Onana the coming days, with transfer window in Turkey and Saudi Arabia among those still open. So I think that's a rumor. Yeah. Now, this is what somebody said, and it sounds like the person has a point. It says, got knocked out of the Champions League, cost United the EL by jumping over the ball against Spurs, couldn't defend the corner or save a penalty versus Grimsby, I think he saved one penalty. Did he? Yeah, he saved one penalty, I think. Or what? Yeah. Made 27 errors leading to goals. I don't know where that start's coming from. 11 clean sheets in 72 games, and Martinez had 8. Yeah, so a lot of people are calling for him to leave. Rúben Amorim is very clear who, and this is according to Fabrizio Romano. Rúben Amorim is very clear who he wants to play. Who wants to play must perform at the best level, and his relationship with Andre Onana is still good. Okay, that still works. Andre Onana and Rúben Amorim maintain a strong relationship. Amorim emphasizes that all players, including Onana, must perform at their peak to earn playing time. Okay, that is facts. Andre Onana came back to Carrington, this account Athletic, yesterday after the summer, wanting a new contract. I've said that multiple times. I mean, Lord Whitwell has dropped it down. And yeah, that's pretty much what it is for Andre Onana. It is what it is. Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. So, what do you guys think? Andre Onana asking for a new contract. A whole lot of things like happening. Yeah. What do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comment section. Onana has had a horrendous kind of 2 seasons at Man United overall. So what do you guys think? Do you think Man United should let him go? Should he be sold? I know you guys will say he should be sold. So let's move on to the next thing. So the next one on our list is Jamie Carragher. There's no day Manchester United doesn't there's no day that goes by that Man United does not have drama or interesting or crazy news. I'm going to give you what Football 365 reported and then what Daily Mail has reported according to Will Griff. Carragher claims that there is one reason behind Amorim's sack amid big clamor. So Jamie Carragher has argued that there is one reason behind United's decision to stick with head coach Rúben Amorim amid a big clamor. Now my question is, because I think Jamie Carragher just has some pretty wild and crazy takes on stuff. He just spews things out his mouth, and he doesn't filter. I mean, I've watched him on the CBS show for the Champions League. He talks a lot of wibble and all of that. But yeah, it is what it is. We have to just talk about it and react to it, and you let me know what your thoughts are on that. Amorim is under immense pressure at Man United, and he's currently the second favorite to be the first Premier League manager sacked this season. That is what everybody's saying. Every touch counts. The 40-year-old had a torrid time after replacing former Man United boss Erik ten Hag towards the end of last season, and has struggled to implement his 3-4-3 formation, which is what everybody's going with in the media, especially when it comes to negative stuff. Under Amorim, the Red Devils plummeted to 15th in the Premier League and lost to Spurs in the Europa League Final, while their problems have carried over to this campaign, which I doubt, because if you look at that, you will have to also criticize other teams like Man City. But obviously, they'll use the narrative that Man City have, basically won 4 trophies back to back. 4 trophies back to back, and then they've won so many things. So the excuse is that Guardiola has bought himself time. Now, Man United invested around £200,000 to overhaul their attack by signing Benjamin Šeško, Mbeumo and Cunha. but they are still ineffective in forward positions as they are easy to play through. So this line, because we're breaking it down, this line, I don't understand how the forward positions link with the easy to play through. You say they are ineffective in the forward position and yet they're easy to play through. I'm confused because Man United's forward positions is not the midfield or the defense. So how is it that they're ineffective in forward positions and then easy to play through? You know, when people just report stuff, they just dump anything they see to try to make news for Manchester United, and it's worrying, right? It's worrying. We're going to, after we drill down this one, we're going to drill down what Daily Mail is saying so that we can know, you know, where we are at with regards to this. Yeah. So it says, so this line doesn't make sense. Manchester United invested around £200,000 to overhaul the attack by signing Benjamin Sesko, Brian Mbeumo, and Matheus Cunha. No doubt. We had the first game against Arsenal. We lost 1-0. We had a second game against Fulham. We drew 1-1. We had a third game against Grimsby Town. We drew 1-1 in full time and lost 12-11. And we drew 2-2 in full time and lost 12-11 to Grimsby Town in the Carabao Cup. Then the fourth game we come and then we win 3-2 against Burnley, and yet we're easy to play through. Yeah, it says, because if you look at it, the only player who has played all 3 games and potentially played, or all 4 games and potentially played more minutes than in the front 3 is Brian Mbeumo. Despite the fact that we had Matheus Cunha play most and then got injured in the last game. So if you're going to check their minutes, just doing a quick check on their minutes with regards to Cunha versus Mbeumo versus basically Cunha versus Mbeumo versus Benjamin Sesko. Sesko is the least. Sesko should be number 3 in that list of players who have played and played minutes, especially in the attacking forward. So if we go with Brian Mbeumo, Mbeumo has played how many minutes? So Mbeumo has played 270 minutes for Man United in the Premier League alone. Yeah, in the Premier League he's played 270 minutes. Who else again? Then if we go for Benjamin, or better yet, let's do it this way. We'll check Mbeumo, we'll check Sesko, and then we will take it to the next level from there. So for Mbeumo, he has played in total for Man United this season. He has played. Let's go to his stats. So his match statistics. So Mbeumo played 90 minutes for Burnley, 44 minutes against Burnley, 44 minutes against Grimsby Town, 90 minutes against Fulham, and 90 minutes against Arsenal. Okay, then we go with Matheus Cunha. Matheus Cunha has played. Where's Cunha? Where is Cunha? So we'll go with. Hold on a sec. So for Cunha, Matheus Cunha has played 3 games for Man United. He played 31 minutes against Burnley, 90 minutes against Grimsby Town, 90 minutes against Fulham, and 90 minutes against Arsenal. Yeah, I think he probably has more minutes in that one. So I think Cunha is number 1, Mbeumo is number 2, and then Sesko, we don't talk about that. Sesko is number 3. Now, these guys have not played together for 3 games or 2 games back to back. They've played at different times, you know. They've not started together, you know, for 2 or 3 games back to back and all of that. They've only just played at different times with each other and all of that. And the one time that they were to start together, Cunha got injured in the 31st minute against Burnley, and we still had chances and created chances and stuff. And actually, Benjamin Sesko didn't start that game against Burnley. He came in as a sub. But then you now come and you say, oh, Brian Mbeumo and Matheus Cunha, Matheus Cunha, Brian Mbeumo and Benjamin Sesko, £20 million, but they're still ineffective in the 4 positions and easy to play through. It's confusing, but it is what it is. We're going to move on from that. Carragher has also commented on Amorim's situation, claiming that he could have lost his job earlier if he wasn't such a good-looking man. And I'm like, what does it have to do with being good-looking as a coach? What does it have to do with being good-looking as a coach? He now said there's now a big clamor to get Jose Mourinho back in English football, and the reason is because he's a box office. Because he's box office, he comes out with stuff. But this is Carragher spewing nonsense. He comes out with stuff, but he was a winner. We always remember Brian Clough when I was a kid, and he was speaking, and you listen because he was a winner. Carragher claimed on the overlap. The problem with Amorim is that he's great in the press conferences, but because he's not winning, people are thinking, oh, shut up, stop speaking. But if he was winning, we would be thinking, oh, he's a great character and a personality. I'm like, okay, oh, shut up, stop speaking. Like, what is he supposed to do? Keep quiet during the press conferences and not answer questions? And if he wasn't so charismatic in the press conference and he wasn't such a good-looking man, he might have lost his job a lot earlier. When you look at the results, they are horrendous. We all know that the results are horrendous. There's no need to come tell us that the results are horrendous. We all know that the results are horrendous. We all know he struggled. We all know he struggled to implement his style at the club and everything. But then you come out with such absolute rubbish in these times. You come out with absolute rubbish talking about, Man United could have sacked him if he was not good looking and he's not charismatic. When Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was here, he has no. Who was here that said he has no Ten Hag? Oh, he has no charisma. He is not this. He is not that. He can't communicate in the press conference. He's not good with this thing. He that. The truth is, anything that brings news for Manchester United for the media is what they'll pounce on. Anything that brings news is what they'll pounce on. Jamie Carragher has this is according to Daily Mail. Jamie Carragher has an unorthodox theory about why Rúben Amorim hasn't been sacked by Man United despite his terrible record so far at Old Trafford. The ex-Liverpool star suggested that Amorim's charisma and charm, along with his good looks, are helping him cling on to power. How? Please, how? The club is backing him. Is it that? Oh my days, man. Is it? What does his good looks have to do with him doing a job? He signed a contract. How? Speaking to the overlap on the fan debate brought to you by Sky Bet, Carabao Carragher said that he's great in the press conferences, but because he's not winning, it's like, shut up, stop speaking, keep your mouth shut. He was always winning. If he was always winning, we'd be saying, what a character. Now, there is now a big clamor for Mourinho to be back in English football, and the reason is because he's box office. He comes out with stuff, but he's a winner. But he was a winner. We always remember Brian Clough. When I was a kid and he was speaking, you would listen because he was a winner. Yet, the same Mourinho that you guys are calling now is the same Mourinho that couldn't qualify Fenerbahce for Champions League. And then even Ole Gunnar Solskjaer that you guys were slagging couldn't qualify Besiktas for Champions League. I'm following Besiktas the moment, and Fenerbahce the moment Mourinho and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got the jobs at Fenerbahce and Besiktas. I followed them, checked their updates, watched some of their games, and in truth, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer struggled. Won the first couple games, but struggled all through pre-season. They kept losing, and then they've lost to FC Lausanne Sport, Manchester United's sister club. They lost to FC Lausanne Sport to the UEFA Conference League spot. Mourinho couldn't qualify Fenerbahce to Champions League, and then boom, he was sacked. Right? Now you say, oh, there's a big clamor because he was a winner. Right? Yeah, you remember Brian Clough. You just see how he's jumping up and down. I actually look at it, and I think if Amorim wasn't too charismatic, if he wasn't so charismatic in the press conference, if he wasn't such a good-looking man, what does his looks have to do? That's my own question. He might have actually lost his job at a lot earlier. While you look at the results, they are horrendous. We all know that the results are horrendous. But when you talk about good-looking man, is he not supposed to be a human being? Is he not a human being first? Before you start talking about him being good-looking, before you now start talking about him, what the heck is that? You just want to make headlines. That's what it is. Because you've had so many horrendous takes in the past in football. Man, that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy and horrendous. But it is what it is. We have to just, work with what we have and just analyze it. But I think that this is a horrendous take, and it keeps bringing up horrendous takes every now and then. You won't put it past Jamie Carragher to always have a stupidly horrendous take every time. But let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comment section. I mean, we're gonna break down everything as we see it and as we bring it. I don't take your thoughts and feelings for granted, but let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comment section. As we move on, to this, because like I said, the media agenda against Man United is crazy. Now, speaking further on what that Daily Mail has reported, it says United finished 15th in the Premier League last season, lost the Europa League final against Tottenham Hotspurs, and have started a new campaign poorly. Poorly. The only game we lost in this campaign, we've played 4 games, we've lost 1, drawn 2, and basically won 1. And yet we started the season poorly. And we're 8th in the Premier League so far. We started the season poorly. We faced one of our rivals in Arsenal. And we're about to face one of our biggest rivals in Man City. And we started the season poorly. United started the season poorly. An opening day home defeat to Arsenal, followed by a draw on the road against Fulham, was compounded by a nightmare Carabao Cup exit on penalties against Grimsby Town. At the weekend, it took a stoppage time penalty to help Amorim's side squeak past newly promoted Burnley. No problem, at Old Trafford. Amorim has led United to victory just 18 times in 46 matches and is under huge pressure to transform the club's fortunes, which I believe he's going to, because we need to back him. Amorim also delivered an extraordinary interview after, they live for these things, after United were beaten by Grimsby Town, saying, I think this is a little bit the limit. I think something has to change. I think the team and the players spoke really loud today. So that's it. I think the best team won, the only team that was on the pitch. I think it's really clear what they spoke. So let's move on from this day. I think it was clear for everybody what happened today. The way we start the game, without any intensity, we're completely lost. He later reflected, to be really honest, every time that we have a defeat like that in the future, I'm going to be like that. I'm going to say sometimes I hate my players and sometimes I love my players, just so that they can make news. Sometimes I want to quit. Sometimes I want to be here for 20 years. I need to improve on that. I'm going to be hard, but now it's going to be hard. But now I'm focused on the next game. And now what they always focus on is Amorim's honesty in press conferences, while it has compelling viewing. It has landed him in hot water before, notably when he described his United side as the worst in the club's history. But Ineos have backed their man and will desperately be hoping for signs of upturn in fortunes. Carragher also went on to add that he thinks that the quality of the rival managers will mean it is difficult to see Amorim lasting longer at United. He continued. He said, take Unai Emery and Eddie Howe. They are not managers that are going for the league, but they are good managers. Oh my God. To think this guy, Amorim, has got all the answers to get Manchester United back to the top, when there are managers that aren't even going for the league and are more experienced. There are a lot of better managers in the Premier League, and I think it is going to be tough for him to turn it around. Okay, and then you have the answer. Now, obviously, Paul Scholes also speaking in the overlap, believes that United failed to fix some crucial areas in the team in transfer window. That's a better way to look at it. He said they haven't addressed the areas that needed addressing. More goals were needed. He needed to address the midfield. The legs were never in there. The goalkeeper was a massive one. He got 4 or 5 midfield players in there, and he wants to play 2 of them. He can't get it right. He can't get the combination right. Ugarte Menu, he doesn't like. Casemiro, he maybe doesn't like. Casemiro and Fernandes is the one he seems to be going for a lot, but that isn't going to win you the Premier League. He doesn't like Ugarte. How do you know he doesn't like Ugarte, Paul Scholes? Come on, man. With all due respect, Now, will be the time, or now will be a time of reflection for Amorim and United over the course of international break. When the players return to duty, United face a daunting task of the derby against Man City at the Etihad on September 14th. Then they host Chelsea a week later in what could be the defining week of the manager. So the next two games is going to be tough. I don't want to just, talk about what these ex-players and pundits have been saying. Everything that they say makes news for Manchester United. So it is what it is. We just had to analyze it. Just let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comment section so we can build, momentum and talk about this. I'll potentially think about getting your views and opinions on TikTok for those of you that are on that platform. Maybe probably just go live so we can have conversations and talk about it, at least for maybe an hour or so. Let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comment section as we build towards this. I'll see you on the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. If you haven't already, please do like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't have to miss anything as it relates to Manchester United. I'll see you on the next one. Take care, goodbye, and God bless.